can build fences. But imagine if it were you, your child in your arms. The world you knew tore apart around you. There is no price you would not pay. There is no wall you would not climb. No sea you would not go to sail. No border you would not cross if. It is a war of the barbarism and the so-called Islamic State that you are fleeing.
Now we've got to be frank. Really, the bell tolls. The time has come. We have to look overtly at the huge issues with which the European Union is now confronted. And that's what I want to focus on now. There's a lack of Europe in the European Union, and there's a lack of union in this European Union. And that has to change. We have to change it, and now. Work together to that end.
Since the beginning of the year, nearly 500,000 people have made their way to Europe. The vast majority of them are fleeing from Syria, the terror of the Islamic State in Libya, or dictatorship in Eritrea. The most affected member states are Greece, with over 200,000 refugees, Hungary with more or less 150,000, and Italy with 120,000. The numbers are impressive. For some, they are frightening. But now is not a time to take fright. It is a time for bold, determined, concerted action by the European Union, by its member states and by its institutions. The first of all the matters, before other considerations, is a matter of humanity and human dignity. And for Europe, it's also a matter for historical fairness. All of us, we should remember well that Europe is a continent where nearly everyone has at one time been a refugee. Our common history is marked by millions of Europeans fleeing from religious or political persecution, from war, from dictatorship, from oppression. We Europeans should know and should never forget why giving refuge and complying with the fundamental right to asylum is so important. The fundamental right to asylum is one of the most important international and European values. We should not forget that. In the past, that we are too seldom proud of our European heritage and our European project. Yes, in spite of our fragility, of our weaknesses, our self-perceived weaknesses, today it is Europe that is thought worldwide as a place of refuge and exile. It is Europe today that represents a place of hope, a haven of stability in the eyes of women and men in the Middle East and in Africa. This is something, I have to say this here, this is something to be proud of and not something to fear. Europe today, ladies and gentlemen, in spite of many differences amongst the member states, is by far the wealthiest place and the most stable continent in the world. We have the means to help those fleeing from war, terror, oppression. I know that many now will want to say that this is all very well, but Europe cannot take everybody. It is true that Europe cannot house all the misery of the world, but let us be honest and put things into perspective. There is certainly an important and unprecedented number of refugees coming to Europe at the moment. However, they still represent just 0.11% of the total European Union population. Let us be clear and honest with our often worried citizens. As long as there is war in Syria and terror in Libya, the refugee crisis will not simply go away. It is high time to act, to manage the refugee crisis, because there is no alternative to this. There has been a lot of finger pointing, not enough finger painting, but too much finger pointing in the past weeks. Member states have accused each other of not doing enough or doing the wrong thing. And more often than no fingers have been pointed from national capitals towards Brussels. Brussels is always accused if member states are failing. If member states are not doing their job, Brussels, the Commission, the European Parliament is accused of not doing the job. We could be angry about this blame game, but I wonder who that would serve. Being angry does not help anyone. We've tripled our presence at sea. 122,000 lives have been saved since then. Every life lost is one too many. It's one too many. But many more have been rescued that would have been lost otherwise, an increase of 250%. We should be proud of that performance. To me, it is clear that the member states where most refugees first arrived, and at the moment these are Italy, Greece and Hungary, cannot be left alone to cope with this enormous challenge. This is why the Commission already proposed an emergency mechanism in May. Not now, back in May, to relocate initially 40,000 people seeking international protection from Italy and Greece. And this is why today we are proposing a second emergency mechanism to relocate a further 120,000 people from Italy, Greece and Hungary. This continent has made the best experience to distinguish on the basis of religious criteria. There is no religion, there is no belief, there is no philosophy when it comes to refugees and to those who are here. Ladies and gentlemen, winter is approaching. Do we really want to have families sleeping in railway stations, in Budapest and elsewhere, in tents, cold tents during night, on shorts, in Kos? Of course, relocation alone will not solve the issue. It is true that we also need to separate better those who are in clear need of international protection and are therefore very likely to apply for asylum successfully, and those who are leaving their country for other reasons which do not fall under the right of asylum. This is why today the Commission is proposing a common EU list of safe countries of origin. This list will enable member states to fast-track asylum procedures for nationals and countries that are presumed to live safe in. And I'm strongly in favor of allowing asylum seekers to work and to earn their own money once their applications are being processed. A truly united European migration policy also means that we need to look into opening legal channels for migration. But let us be clear, this will not help in addressing the refugee crisis we are currently in. But if there are more safe, controlled roads open to Europe, we can manage migration better and make the illegal work of human traffickers less attractive. Let us not forget, we are an aging continent in demographic decline. We will be needing talents coming from everywhere in the world. Over time, migration must change from a problem to be tackled to a well-managed resource. To this end, the Commission will come forward with a well-designed legal migration package in early 2016. This is highly important. Migration has to be legalized. I do not want, Mr. President, to create any illusions that the refugee crisis will be over anytime soon. It will not, and we have to know that. But pushing back boats from piers, setting fire to refugee camps, or turning a blind eye to poor and helpless people, that is not Europe. Europe, that's the baker in Kos who gives away his bread to hungry and weary souls. Europe is the students in Munich and in Passau who bring clothes for the new arrivals at the train station. Europe, that's those standing at the Munich rail station applauding and welcoming refugees. The crisis is stark, and the journey, of course, is still long. I'm counting on you in this house, the house of European democracy, and on all member states to show European governments going forward in line with our common values and history.
而在容克最后的喊话当中，欧洲执委会所提出的16万名难民的分配额度，有的国家强烈拒绝，绝不接受，当然包括了匈牙利。那么经过6个小时的辩论之后，只有同意4万名的安置配额，那么其中的12万名到现在为止没有办法有任何的结论。而联合国的难民